This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
It is a Friday as we gear up for the final weekend of August. Keith Irizarry, Ariel Epstein with you on Money Moves. And Ariel, we're gearing up for this Labor Day weekend. Do you have any big plans set, or, you're just chilling?
This is why I hate being a girl. I have a best friend of mine who decided she's throwing a Labor Day party on Saturday. Guess who's going to be watching games on her phone at the pool? This girl. Those are my plans.
What are the rules, right? Labor Day, like white or no white? What are the rules? I don't even know. Are you allowed to wear white?
You can wear white until Labor Day. I think it's the white pant rule. Do you do white pants, Keith?
I have never worn white pants ever in my life.
See, then you don't have to worry about it. And I'm not going to be a bride anytime soon, so I don't have to worry about that either.
Well, look at that. All right, well, up on the show, we got Stormy, the normal host of this show. She'll be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. Ryan McIntyre, Zach Cohen as well. Those are a few of the names that we will be interviewing and talking to. Let's get the rundown going.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the rundown.
All right, so normally there are 3 things listed on the rundown. I hope there's a 4th. Ariel not getting married anytime soon could be the 4th one there, I guess. We'll just add that on there. College football. It kind of kicked off. I guess last weekend was week 0, whatever. You had Boise State getting rocked last night. Got a bunch of big games coming up this weekend. I would say the headliner, Ariel, would be Texas and Ohio State.
Absolutely, noon Eastern time. I'm so excited to see what happens, especially in the Heisman odds, because Arch Manning is who everybody is going to have their eyeballs on. Every person I've spoken to on my podcast, the Prop Queen Pod here on VSiN, everyone says, let's hope that Arch Manning actually does bad, so this way we could go bet Arch Manning to win the Heisman.
I like it. It was a momentous night for Kyle Schwarber. Could have had 5, ended up with 4 home runs, becomes the 21st person in Major League Baseball history to do so. And Schwarber now has 49 homers on the season.
Yeah, becoming the 21st player MLB history, 4 homer games, franchise record, 9 ribbies. Are we talking about a potential MVP candidate?
Oh, I think this is a conversation that we should have at some point in this show, because Ohtani is the runaway until maybe he's not. So we'll get back to Schwarber in just a few. But let's go to the real headliner. There is a new man, not in Minnesota, not a new man on the Minnesota Vikings, but a new man in Green Bay. Micah Parsons has been dealt away from Dallas. He is now a Packer, a first-round pick in 26, a first-round pick in 27. Kenny Clark, who is a Pro Bowler, so this is not just some throw-in player here. Now, Ariel, as yesterday kind of unfolded in the morning, I was kind of monitoring some things going on, knew we were doing this show. I got a bunch of other shows that I'm doing this weekend as well. And Dan Graziano on ESPN had said, and it was like one of those little nuggets you throw out there. He goes, just want to throw this out there. It was on Get Up on ESPN in the morning, that Cowboys are listening. And the minute he said that, you kind of got a feeling a trade was going to happen. So then I did all my digging, whatever, called a few people that I know, kind of in the know. And what I was told, Ariel, was that Green Bay was set to make a major pitch for Micah Parsons. Ariel, the question here, there's many questions here, but one of the quick questions is, did Dallas get enough for Micah?
No. Micah Parsons was the best player on the Dallas Cowboys. Even more important than Dak Prescott, their quarterback. He was the anchor of this defense. And I know that you had Diggs, who was out for a while because of his injury to his leg. But Micah Parsons was running this defense, and he was healthy. He stayed on the field. I couldn't believe that the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones continue to mess these things up. They should have signed Micah Parsons 3 years ago so that he could get out of the rookie deal, get money when it wasn't so overinflated. They waited, and the Cowboys now are paying the price. Kenny Clark, okay, great. You are this isn't enough for me. It's not. It never is going to be. I know you get a first-round pick 2026, first-round pick 2027. It's not like they need a quarterback. It just makes no sense when you could have been in a win now situation, Keith. I actually really liked the Cowboys this year prior to the Micah Parsons problem. I felt that the East was very winnable. I think the Commanders, you get a potential sophomore slump out of your quarterback and Jaden Daniels. Their defense still needs to make a lot of improvements. The Dallas Cowboys could have been the most well-rounded team in the East outside of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're just not anymore, not even in my conversation.
So, listen, I think that the Dallas Cowboys got as much as they were going to get now. Like, if you're going to make the trade yesterday, this was the best offer you're probably going to get. So there's that, right? But you nailed it. If at any point you thought, we might get rid of Micah Parsons, it should have been a while ago. This, to me, Ariel, was so weird because Jerry Jones, everyone tells me that he's a great businessman. Everyone tells me that he doesn't, get raked over the coals and he doesn't lead with his heart, blah, 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 blah. This felt like he was annoyed that Micah wouldn't speak to him and he wanted him to speak to his agent and this and that and the other thing. This got emotional, and in business, if you're going to tell me, Ariel, that Jerry Jones is a great businessman, and I guess the proof would say that he is, it can't get emotional, and it felt like this did.
It's the same thing we say all the time about former players becoming GMs of a team. A lot of the times they struggle to draft their own position or get players of their own position, like Mr. Elway. But when you finally get to the point like Jerry Jones where you're older, and I compare the Yankees and the Cowboys a lot to each other, they get so loyal, but they end up aging out. And Jerry Jones, as much as it's his team and he made the Cowboys America's team, quote unquote, yeah, you could be a good businessman. You could make good decisions for the Cowboys as an organization. When it comes to general manager, Jerry Jones has messed up far too many times. And if we want to talk about going back to even Ezekiel Elliott, who of course now things are different with him, but even in that controversy when he was in his prime, look at what Saquon Barkley just did to the Philadelphia Eagles. So don't tell me that a player like Micah Parsons, you could just eliminate and say, okay, whatever. He was a cancer to this team. At some point, you're so talented, you're no longer a cancer no matter what happens, Keith.
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, you go back to Emmitt Smith, the holdout there. You go 0-2, then he gets his money. You go back to last year with Dak and CeeDee. You go back to Zeke, like you said. The Dallas Cowboys have this weird way of doing this, and this one did not work out. You mentioned Jerry Jones. I mentioned Jerry Jones. Let's hear and watch Jerry Jones discussing the fallout from this trade. Do we have that sound, guys? I'll just verbalize it then. Here's what Jerry Jones did say. Jerry Jones said that the Dallas Cowboys had an issue stopping the run last year, and this trade will make them better. I would just say this. I know Micah Parsons is known as, an edge rusher, a pass rusher, great at rushing. I think my team, if I were a Dallas Cowboys fan, is better with Micah Parsons than anyone else. Like, you want him on your roster. And now we spin it forward, Ariel. We take a look at the odds as well. So the Packers are now the odds-on favorite, depending on which book you're looking at, either the odds-on favorite or tied with the Lions to win that division. You can go to all the odds movements, Super Bowl odds as courtesy of ESPN Bet, move from 20-1 to 14-1 for Green Bay. To win the NFC was 10-1, now plus 550. Follow the movement. The Packers won this deal.
The Packers absolutely won the deal, Keith. And riddle me this. How is it that in the same division as the Cowboys, the Commanders got a deal done with Scary Terry McLaurin? How is it that the Cincinnati Bengals found a way to get a deal done with Trey Hendrickson? This was literally like the bottom three of that list. I thought no shot the Cowboys would be this dumb to let Micah Parsons go. The Packers are this smart because they see a very good win now position. You got your quarterback Jordan Love in for another season. You can deem that this is now his prime, where he's had a few years under his belt at the NFL level. The Packers also decided to finally draft a wide receiver, which poor Aaron Rodgers is still probably crying about. And Green Bay, clearly, it just shows that this team defensively needed that one extra piece, and they definitely got it. My next question is really just going to be about how good the Packers receiving core can be, because that is a pain in the neck to handicap.
Yeah, Jaden Reed is dealing with some injuries. We wonder if he's going to be available for week 1. That's still on the table. Matthew Golden looks like he might be the real deal, the rookie. And then you got a whole bunch of other guys there. And I don't mean to disparage those players, but the other guys, I say it like that on purpose because they're not, household names. You have a running back in Josh Jacobs. You mentioned Jordan Love. A lot of people thought he was going to be the MVP last year. Listen, I'll throw it out there. If you believe in the fact that this Packers team is going to be really good, and usually an MVP comes from a really good team, Jordan Love, you already see his MVP number. I saw it this morning. Yesterday was at the morning was 20-1, and now depending on what book you're at, anywhere from 16-1 to 18-1. So it's moving. People are obviously buying in, potentially even on Jordan Love as an MVP candidate. Ariel.
I wouldn't mind Jordan Love as an MVP candidate. He had a great season last year. I mean, we're talking about a team that went 11-6. I'm just trying to get a look at their schedule, because looking at the schedule ahead, they've got Detroit, Washington. That's a really tough schedule off the bat, but we know week 4 is the revenge game where we see who really wins this trade between the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. But you've got to face the Lions, the Commanders, the Browns, and then the Cowboys, the Bengals. So that's a really tough first 5 weeks. I think that's when we'll really know about Jordan Love and his receiving core.
The Packers, if my memory serves me correctly, I don't have the number in front of me. I believe their strength of schedule is in the top 10 toughest in the NFL. Obviously, they are in a very tough division, so that plays into it. Speaking of playing into it, we got a lot more to do over the next hour and 50 minutes. She is Ariel Epstein. I am Keith Irizarry. It's Money Moves right here on VSiN.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
That's right. It is Money Moves right here on VSiN. She is Ariel Epstein. I am Keith Irizarry. And of course, you think you're better than the experts. Prove it in the Edge Boost Average Joe contest, the same pick'em format as the Circa Friday Football Invitational with the pros. The top average Joes earn a spot in next year's 25 Pro Circa Invitational field. It is free to play, and you can register anytime during the season to be eligible for weekly and quarterly prizes. Plus, each week, the score, if you get the highest one, you get a $500 Edge Boost deposit. And if the weekly winner already has an Edge Boost account, you know what? Boost it to $1,000. Make sure you're eligible to sign up at edgeboost.bet with promo code VSiN. Enter the contest today at vsin.com/Joe. Again, she is Ariel. I am Keith Irizarry. And if you're watching the show right now on video and you see as we come back out from break, there's a young lady that's laughing and posing and she's, modeling. It's Stormy Buonantony, the normal host of this show, and she joins us now. Stormy, how are you?
I'm great. I don't know if we're going to call what's happening currently the no makeup ponytail situation, nor the fact that I have the in-ear headphones. I'm going full Aaron Rodgers today as well. So we're off to a great start. What's going on, guys?
I like it. All right, so what's going on? You have been high on the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. Micah Parsons is no longer a Dallas Cowboy. There are so many ways we can go with this. So let's just go there first. What was your reaction when you found out that Parsons was going to be a Green Bay Packer?
Well, apparently it was an overreaction because I learned the news as I was pulling up in my garage at home on my way home yesterday. I ran into the house to my husband, who's like, "Chris, oh my gosh, you will not believe what just happened." And he was on a work call, but I didn't realize. And then you hear somebody else on the call go, "What happened?" And I broke the news to 10 people on a Zoom. That said, my reaction was, wow, how quick Jerry is to change his tune from 2 weeks ago, where he's like, "I wouldn't be standing here with you if I didn't think we had a great future ahead with Micah," to yesterday essentially saying they're better without him. They are better without the guy who's arguably the had the best start to a career as any pass rusher since 2000, and at 26 years old is entering his prime. Oh, and let's call him Michael repeatedly on the way out too. Come on, man. If you're Green Bay, you have to love this. What a philosophical change also for you as an organization, because this is not the type of thing they typically do, but an unbelievable move on their part in win now mode, favorites in the division. If you are a Bears or a Vikings fan, you're like, great, now I get Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons twice a year. I do have the Cowboys win total over 7.5, but Parsons obviously was tied into a lot of my handicap of this team, so I don't love it. I do still lean over. Like, I think that the Cowboys in general are better than 7.5 wins. I would like to have the plus 105 versus the minus 130 that I have on that now without him. But this is just, I am stunned genuinely that they did this. And JVT and I have talked a lot about these contracts. He hasn't wanted to, by the way. This will be a fun conversation when he comes back, because he has always said, wake me up when the deal is done, because they inevitably get done. And he's been right. See Terry McLaurin, see Trey Hendrickson. With week 1 approaching, they got their deals done to be on the field with that team. And then that didn't happen with Micah. I'm shocked by it. I think a lot of people are shocked by it. I don't think it was the right move at all by Dallas to do, but you also can't really grade these trades until we see how it shakes out on the field.
Stormy, for someone who's listening who, okay, now the trade went down, but we are a gambling network. What is the best approach for a gambler to be betting now that this trade is done? Like, whether it's the Packers or the Cowboys?
Like I said, I still think that the Cowboys are going to have a pretty decent season. And I know that the schedule difficulty, the strength of schedule is not ideal for them, but every year that they have had a healthy Dak Prescott, they've exceeded this number and had double-digit wins. And so at the even money, at the plus 105 prices, I don't think that that's a terrible bet on the over 7.5, but I would be very curious just to see what this looks like for Green Bay early on. Like, I have been waiting, by the way, for week 1 for that 7.5 to pop, and this is what forces it. So now I don't want any part of it in week 1. But that's kind of my approach is, yeah, I don't love my bet as much anymore, but I like the price point that you can get on Dallas better.
She is Stormy Buonantony, the normal host of this show right here, Money Moves. I am Keith Irizarry, also Ariel Epstein rolling with us as well. All right, so Jerry Jones, leave it to him to try to hijack the college football season. I refuse to let that fully happen. So Stormy, you're on the call, the Cal-Oregon State game tomorrow in Corvallis, Oregon. So you got brand new QBs on both sides, right? You got Murphy going for Oregon State, and I'm not even going to try to say the Cal's quarterback's last name. So I'm going to leave that to you. If you can do it, good. If not, just say the Cal QB.
I got you. Jaren Kiave Sangapulatele. I am ready for tomorrow. Let's get it going. But yeah.
Wow.
Thank you,
That's
guys.
what you get
Thank
when you work in hockey.
Apparently so, yes. Meanwhile, I was joking with JVT earlier this week. Here I was thinking I was going to get to say Devin Brown, but Jaren obviously wins the job as the true freshman. And I'll tell you, there is a lot of excitement at Cal for him and what he can bring. He's a fringe 5-star guy who a lot of people think could be their savior. Left-handed, big arm quarterback out of Hawaii, super accurate. Originally committed to Cal, flipped to Oregon. And then once he saw the staff that Justin Wilcox was putting together, they bring in Brian Harsin as offensive coordinator, Nick Rolovich as an offensive analyst and advisor, new O-line coach, like all these former head coaches within the program to help re-cement things. And he came back. And so there's a lot of questions about what this offense around him is going to be, but they're very excited for the young quarterback. And I'm not going to mince words for what I know a lot of people think about Cal. I am very aware of the narrative that they think this team is going to be terrible after the mass exodus of players they had. Mendoza leaves, Jaden Ott, Jack Endries, who's a former walk-on that turns into a stud. He goes to Texas. And they're a whole new team taking on an Oregon State team that people really think is trending up. So I don't know what it's going to look like on Saturday, but I do think long-term, Cal is going to be better than people think. And defense, I feel pretty confident about what they're going to look like on that side of the ball. It's just offense, we've got some questions. And Oregon State, I mentioned them trending up. People are excited about them. Malik Murphy had a great season at Duke, set their touchdowns record, and Duke moved off of him. So he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming into this offense. Trent Bray in year 2 for Oregon State. I'm really excited to talk to him. As soon as I'm off of this hit, I'm going to drive down to their athletics facility and have our coaches meetings. And I'm going to talk to Murphy. I'm going to talk to Anthony Hankerson, their running back. But for him to be taking over the defense again, I think is going to be huge for the Beavers this year. He was first time head coach last year, just figuring things out, and now having that comfort to be the defensive coordinator again, as well as the head coach, and call the defensive plays, be in the linebackers room. I think that's going to make a huge difference for Oregon State on that side of the ball.
Speaking of making a difference, we've got quarterback changes in Texas and Ohio State, as those two are going head-to-head tomorrow at noon Eastern. Texas laying 1.5, total 46.5. Stormy, I feel like we've been talking about this game since I filled in on Money Moves with you for an entire week and a half. It's finally going to be here tomorrow. What are our final thoughts on Texas, Ohio State?
Yes, I did ultimately make under 47.5 an official play, and I know we're at the 46.5 now. I saw one rogue shop that was still at 47.5, so shop around if you can. But basically the thought process, right, that these are two really good defenses breaking in taking on offenses, they're breaking in new quarterbacks. As far as the side goes, I'm still pretty stuck on this game, to be honest. I wish I had more conviction for you. JVT has had Texas for a while. I would say gun to my head, I would go with Texas. But there's just so much change for both of these teams. And he's got all these new offensive linemen in front of him. What is Arch Manning really going to be? Ohio State's got a ton of change too. So this is going to be such a good data point game for me. And with both of these teams, considering how highly they're thought of and the 12-team playoff, nobody's out of anything after losing this game. So I like the under, and then we'll see result-wise how I want to attack things moving forward. But the loser of this game is probably a good buy point on them for a national championship if they play well and lose.
Stormy, 1 minute left, so it's not really a G-Bank best bet segment, but we'll do it anyway. So Notre Dame, Miami, UNLV, Sam Houston, and Baylor, Auburn, those are listed on your best bets. What are your plays with those?
Yes, I have those. I do, since we only have a minute though. But Notre Dame, I'm on Notre Dame money line. I'm on the over 60.5 for UNLV Sam Houston. I like Baylor plus the 2.5. I also added yesterday Utah minus 5.5 and Georgia Tech minus 4. And then I'm also putting in Toledo plus 10 at Kentucky. We had Alyssa Lang on the show yesterday, who's going to be the reporter for that game tomorrow. And she kind of swayed me a little bit on this being a closer game and how good Toledo is as a G5 team, what they did against Mississippi State last year, the changes they made. So give me Toledo getting the double digits on the road at Kentucky.
Love it. Enjoy your first weekend on the call of the season. It's going to be a roller coaster season for you. Safe travels, and we'll talk again very soon.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
There she is, Stormy Buonantony. Will continue rolling along with college football. And Ariel, I might have an Oregon story for you that I want to share. Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, boy.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
As we roll along on this Friday, Keith Irizarry, Ariel Epstein, right here on VSiN. It is Money Moves, and Ariel, our last segment, we were talking with Stormy, and you had mentioned you feel like you've been talking about this game for so long. I think the minute we knew college football was essentially getting kicked off with Ohio State and Texas. I know there are other games, and there are games tonight, and there was a game I know, I get it. But when you talk about a headliner, you talk about the number one team in America, in Texas. You've got all the hype around Arch Manning. You have a Longhorns team that, went far in the postseason last year. Then you've got the defending national champs in Ohio State with a lot of brand new faces. I'm just excited it's finally here. So let's talk about it this way. As you followed all the movement where Ohio State was a favorite, then Texas money coming in on them and whatnot. So what is the story of following the money told you over the last couple of weeks?
That the book doesn't know either. It's going to be one of those situations where we have two quarterbacks that really don't have experience. They have a lot backing them. There's a lot of hype going into both quarterbacks, but sometimes there's a little bit too much hype. When you have Arch Manning as a favorite, ranked number one for the first time in a preseason poll ever, It's a lot of pressure for Texas and a young team. Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, still one of the best game planners in the country. He's got a great track record early on in the year. The Buckeyes they rattled off 22 straight home wins. They haven't lost a home opener since 1978. So who has more on the line here? Well, it's hard for me to say because, like Stormy said, it's actually the gamblers. Now you could choose who's going to have a little bit more value after they lose this coming game, because in the end, it's not going to impact one game out of conference isn't going to impact someone making a championship game, like a conference championship game, Keith.
What's fun about the world of college football now, and I know there are some old heads out there that are going to tell you that they don't like the college football playoffs. You're silly. The college football playoffs is where it's at. It will only continue to grow. We know there'll be more teams. The reason I like the college football playoff is because a game like this tomorrow, Texas-Ohio State, in the past, potentially could have meant one of these teams doesn't have a chance to play for a national championship. That will not happen. Unless one of these teams wins 72-0, both of these teams will very much be alive for the rest of the season. With all that being said, to break this game down, Ariel, I'm a little bit worried about Ohio State. You know, there's always a little bit of a hangover when you win a national championship, right? Now, the other part of this would be that a lot of new names, new faces for the Buckeyes. Their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, he's gone. Only 3 starters remain on the defensive side of the team. And as young as Arch Manning is as a starting QB, he's been in college football now, and he's been hanging around Quinn Ewers, and he's been hanging around Sark, and he's been hanging around future NFL players for many years now. I think Arch is going to be ready for the moment. I don't think that Ohio State is going to throw anything at him that he will not be able to handle. I think Texas wins this game. And again, it doesn't mean that Ohio State suddenly can, fold and their season's over. They'll probably still end up in the college football playoff. I like Texas to win this game.
We're on opposite sides, which the viewer or listener is either going to hate or love, because now we could be devil's advocate. I'm worried about the Texas rebuilt offensive line. You have a young, very raw quarterback in Arch Manning who's going to be behind this very new offensive line. And even though Sayin is also a new quarterback over at Ohio State, he's got 2 of the best receivers in the country. Jeremiah Smith is like a freshman wide receiver phenom. They also have a great defensive star in Caleb Downs. Now, both these teams did lose a lot of players. Ohio State just always shows you how much depth they have. I even saw and heard that the running back room in Ohio State is pretty underrated with Peoples and Donaldson, and that Ryan Day really also likes what his defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, has done with the defense. So, if anything, the only concern I have is Matt Patricia, which shouldn't be the case because of all his experience, but I still do not trust Matt Patricia. I still do trust Ohio State. I trust Ryan Day, and I trust the talent and the depth that those Buckeyes have, plus the home field advantage. So I like Ohio State to win this one. And if it's +1.5, I'll take the +1.5.
I saw Texas this morning, 77% of the money line handle at DraftKings was going towards the Longhorns. I know we're supposed to go the opposite way of that. Keith? Yes, that's exactly where I was going to go with this, Ariel. Like, it does. And I'm pretty sure so my wife went to Penn State. My mother-in-law passed away a couple of years ago. She went to Ohio State. Like, we're a Big Ten household and like the old school Big Ten team. So typically I would lean towards Ohio State. Something tells me that Arch is going to have a big day, and I believe in Texas. Let's sneak in another one here before we continue cruising along, because I think we might end up being on the same side here. LSU and Clemson. Clemson, they are the favorites in this game. The over-under set around 57.5, depending on where you're looking. I love Clemson because of their defense. You can make an argument that they're going to be a top 5 defense in all of America. You've got TJ Walker, you've got Pete Woods, you've got guys that are going to be first-round picks, and that's without me even talking about the QBs. And then on the other side for LSU, Ariel, they lost 4 offensive line starters. I get it. Big universities don't rebuild, they reload, but that would make me a little bit leery of LSU, so I lean towards Clemson.
At least we agree here, and we don't have to hate each other all day tomorrow. I like Clemson also. I like that Clemson's returning a lot of players, more so than LSU. Cade's one of the best triggermen in the country. He showed that at the end of last year. Clemson's better coached, superior chemistry, core group of players that can pick up right where they left off. Whereas you look at Brian Kelly, the head coach of LSU, he's 6-20 in his career against top 10 ranked teams, and he's winless in week 1 during his tenure at LSU. There are too many concerns here with LSU, including having the lesser coach on the road in the Clemson Death Valley. I would lay 4 with Clemson. This game, they have to really show up, and I think it kind of helps. Not that they're thinking this way, because you always have to just go one game at a time. It helps when you're Clemson knowing that the rest of your conference sucks. So at least Clemson knows after this battle testing game, it really is only easier from here for most of the season.
This is also a fun one, Ariel, because you got, Nussmeier, who a lot of people believe is going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft next year. Cade Klubnik, also going to be a first-round pick next year in the draft. Most people believe it. Nussmeier had some bugaboos last year, lots of turnovers, and they came in clusters. Cade Klubnik is a athletic QB, not afraid to run. Actually, Clemson has kind of told him to run a little bit less to make sure that he doesn't get hurt. I'm glad we're on the same side. Quickly, I want to throw this one out as well. So Sunday night.
Before we move on from LSU Clemson, I did hear that there was a chance that Nussmeier was banged up in practice a few weeks ago, and the Tigers are being pretty quiet about it. So there's like a chance we don't see him in action, which I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'm just hearing that there was some kind of concern over Nussmeier at practice.
Interesting. I had not heard that. Quickly, I wanted to throw this out. Notre Dame and Miami. You got teams with new QBs there as well, and Notre Dame went to the national championship and lost last year. I don't know who wins this game. I think Notre Dame does, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored here. I think both of these defenses are going to step up. I'm leaning under 49.5.
I know my girl Kelly in Vegas is on Notre Dame. I don't really know why. I don't have anything for this spot, but I do know that she was pretty high on Notre Dame, but I heard that other people were a little bit more concerned about them. I guess you could say with some like offensive continuity that it takes some time to develop, and that's where you could see maybe both offenses struggle a bit in the end zone. But I think that they can move the ball consistently, maybe settle for some field goal attempts. But Notre Dame, they've got the better kicker. And if you're going to have a game that comes down to struggling offenses in the red zone and it comes down to field goals, then I guess that gives you a little bit of an edge too, even though Kelly would say kicking's for losers.
All right. Well, part of the reason Nice. Part of the reason I'm going under, Notre Dame has the better run game. I don't believe they're going to want C.J. Carr to be airing it out the entire time. I think that they will kind of slow play him a little bit, roll with the running game, a little bit more ball control, and take control of the game that way. Speaking of control, the VSiN NFL betting guide, it is updated and ready for week 1. You do not want to miss this. Inside the NFL betting guide 2.0, you will find post-preseason team updates, proven betting systems, contest strategies, and host best bets for opening week and beyond. You get access to this and the college football betting guide for as little as $9.99 for your first 30 days. Head over to vsin.com/subscribe to see which subscription works best for you. So you definitely want to do that. We got NFL still on the docket. You got college football ready and raring. And Ariel, on the other side, I think you and I will go near and dear to our hearts. We will talk some baseball. Of course, Schwarber, 4 home runs. You'll have some pitcher props, as you always do, Miss Prop Queen. I will have some hitter props, and I don't have a clever name for myself. But, TV audience, I do have a bat.
Hey,
there you go. It's VSiN.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hey, as the official horse racing partner of VSiN, First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet, it's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that provide data-driven insights to help you make smarter bets. Like it's literally as simple as that. First Bet's in-app tools, what it does is it gives you win, place, and show probabilities for each runner. so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI just in time to take advantage of their limited time $250 sign-up offer for the Pacific Classic. You can claim your bonus by using promo code VSiN250 when you sign up in the FirstBet app or at firstbet.com. Again, it is promo code VSiN250. Keith Irizarry, Ariel, Epstein, Money Moves on VSiN with you as we wind down hour number 1 on this Friday. We move over to baseball, and Ariel, Kyle Schwarber went yard 4 times, 21st time in Major League Baseball history. And I was on another network. This was about 3 weeks ago when Schwarber had, I think it was, he had hit, 3 home runs in 4 games, whatever it was. And I subtly mentioned that might be worth looking at him for NL MVP. At the time, he was 22-1 odds. He is now 5-1 odds. Can he overtake Shohei, though?
Listen, here's what's so annoying. Ohtani and Judge are obviously fantastic players. Like someone you wouldn't see in your lifetime is someone like Shohei Ohtani. But it's almost at the point of Tom Brady, LeBron James. How much more does Shohei Ohtani have to offer? We know he's great. We know he's an MVP. The Phillies need all the help they could get because now they're down in Zach Wheeler. Shohei Ohtani's filled with a team of stars in LA, a team that probably could still win without him. So for Ohtani to win MVP again on a team that is filled with superstars, is he really the most valuable player? And I know he pitches and he hits and he's amazing and one of the best players we'll see. At some point, like LeBron and Brady, it's enough already. Let's give it to someone else. Kyle Schwarber, if he's lifting the Phillies on his back and carrying them into a playoff, he definitely could be up there. And I feel like it's a little bit weird, like a minus 1,000 and a 5-1. It just feels like Schwarber should almost be longer odds.
So here's what I'll say with it, and I think you nailed a lot of it. So it reminds me of when Judge hit the 62 home runs, right? So I remember you and I both were at MLB Network at the time, and I was on there with Matt Stryker talking about this on Better's Eye, and I remember saying to him, the only way someone beats Ohtani for the AL MVP at the time was if they do something generationally special, and Aaron Judge then did that, right? So the way I view this Schwarber situation is, he's at 49 home runs. If he gets to 58 or more, I think at that point he should probably be the MVP because he would be doing something special. Ohtani will do something special every single season. And if we take it back to his last pitching outing, he ended up going 5 innings, the most he had pitched all season long, 9 strikeouts, the most he had all season long. So we know he's special. I'm going to say a weird way to word it. Can you out-special Ohtani? That's what it is. Can you out-special him? And Schwarber probably going to need to get close to 60 home runs to do that.
For sure. You have to break some records or be on record-breaking pace. We saw this, too, with a Luis Ariz, who was hitting, one of the highest batting averages in baseball last year, and then he ended up cooling off. Can Schwarber even stay this hot? We're talking about a player like Schwarber who was on an 0-20 slump, and then he had his historic performance on Thursday. Also, Schwarber is really good against Atlanta this year. 368 batting average, 8 homers, 16 ribbies, 11 runs scored, and he won the All-Star Game MVP in Atlanta. So is Schwarber just a fan of Atlanta? Can this continue for the next month? And that's why I think you're seeing Ohtani at minus 1,000. The same way Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge. People had the same argument over those two because of Cal Raleigh's home run pace most of this year. But there's proven players that prove they do it all year, and that's Ohtani and Judge. Then there's streaky players like Kyle Schwarber, who is just 0 for 20. Keith, are we overreacting?
Nope. Probably a little bit. Kyle Schwarber, if you like on-pace numbers, he's on pace for 59 home runs. That would break the Phillies single-season record, 58, by Ryan Howard. So that was, 2006 that Ryan Howard did that. I don't know. I think when push comes to shove, if you're going to bet on Schwarber MVP. I kind of think you missed your window again. A couple weeks ago, I said at 22-1, it might have been, worth a little pizza money, a little, dart
I
throw.
feel like
On the American League.
It's a bad number, 5-1. When you've got a minus 1,000 on the other side, 5-1 just seems like a terrible number.
Really quickly, I know we're both in New York and we both follow the New York Yankees and cover them as well. Aaron Judge is your AL MVP as it stands right now, correct?
Yeah, probably. Even though I hate the Yankees right now. I know they've been winning, but they can't be good teams. That's not Aaron Judge's fault. Minus 130. Again, Cal Raleigh, you could have had great value on way longer ago. This market is not touchable at this point because Aaron Judge is minus 130. Cal Raleigh's plus 100. I don't care about a plus 100 play on a season-long prop. If I want a plus 100, I'm going to go find a nice little short dog on the slate, and I'm going to go bet it and get that money tomorrow. I don't want to bet a plus 100 right now. And it's also very hard for an MVP in a pitcher, which is why Tarek Skubal's sitting there at 150-1, which dropped significantly because Skubal actually was closing in on the top of the leaderboard at one point. So I stay away from the AL MVP market, Keith.
Yeah, I would too. I think it's Judge's award to lose, and there you go. All right, let's sneak in a few games here. Cardinals and the Reds, Zach Littell and Matthew Liberatore, and you're looking at the pitching matchup. Which side?
Of course I'm looking at a pitching matchup, and I love Cincinnati's righty Zach Littell to go over 15.5 outs. Littell's gone over this in 73% of games this year. He's on 6 days rest, and in those spots, he's gone over 15.5 outs in 5 of 6 starts, and all 4 when he's on 6 days of rest at home. The Cards are averaging 17 outs a game against starters, so 15.5 feels pretty low. I would go Littell over his outs prop tonight.
Listen, I was looking at the Braves-Phillies game, and I was all in, ready to do something with Trey Turner, and the book just priced me out of it. There was nothing there for me with Kyle Schwarber as well. I think the Phillies are going to win that game, but I didn't have any conviction, so no official plays from this game. Even though Trey Turner, again, if you want a dart throw there, again, the price is kind of high, but he's on a 6-game hitting streak. He's got good numbers against Elder in his career. I wanted the Herbie play, the over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. The book had it at 2.5. I wanted it over 1.5, so I stayed away. Go to the Brewers and the Blue Jays, Ariel, and a surprise, you're looking at a pitcher again.
Hey, I have a few hitter props, by the way, if you want me to go on your side, but I leave you to the hitter props. I'll take the pitcher props. Shane Bieber, he's only made 1 start so far this year, and that was against Miami. Now he's getting the toughest team to face when the team's on the road, aka the Brewers, the best road team in baseball. They're averaging just about 5.6, so about 5.5 runs a game on the road this year at Milwaukee. And they don't strike out that much, which is why Shane Bieber going under 5.5 Ks in just his second start makes sense. Righties, 49 unders and 41 overs when facing Milwaukee this year, averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game. Shane Bieber, it's going to be his welcome back to Major League Baseball after your Tommy John surgery. He's going under 5.5 Ks.
Oh, baby, baby, baby. Oh, no, Bieber, I just, anyway.
I heard them lower your mic when you were singing.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I tell all people I sing like an angel, an injured angel, but an angel nonetheless. Mariners and the Guardians, I've got a hitter prop for you here. I'm going to go with Jose Ramirez. We're going to go over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 120. Thought it was very digestible. This is a little bit of a gut play for me because he actually hasn't been on a streak as of late, but he's got good numbers against Kirby, 5 for 9 with a home run and 2 doubles. For Kirby, what's your play with him?
Wait, did you just say you're betting a Herbie against Kirby?
Whoa. Yes, a Herbie against Kirby. Huh.
I just made you day. You're welcome.
Yes, you did. Mind blown. Give me a Kirby play, please, before we got to go to this break.
I've got a Kirby over 5.5 Ks. He's gone over this in 3 of 5 starts against teams with high strikeout rates. 7-3 with a 3.05 ERA in his last 11 starts. 52 overs and just 40 unders for righties when they are going against Guardians, averaging 5 strikeouts a game. 6 of the last 10 righties to face Cleveland went over 5.5 Ks. George Kirby over his strikeout prop today.
There you go. Just a few of our baseball players. We both have more on the other side in hour number 2. Also, Micah Parsons. Yeah, he's not a Cowboy. He's a Packer. How you feeling out there, everybody? It's Money Moves.